Poodle, is someone at the door? It's Southern Charm.
Michael, it's time for my medicine.
Come and listen to a podcast hosted by some queens, talking about folks living way above their means. They all live in Charleston where the booze is always flowing, and we know too much about them all because of Andy Cohen. Bravo, that is. Southern Charm. Sweet tea. Well, Cameron is the sweetest, and Austen is a tool. Shep can be a jerk, but Chelsea's really cool. Craig is playing lawyer, Eliza's playing games. There's a lot of other blonde girls, we forget their names. Madison, Heather Lynn, Skimbleshanks.
It's Sweet Tea, the unauthorized Southern Charm podcast.
Glitz, luxury, angelic feathers.
That's
Kathryn's idea of a Gatsby party.
You've demanded the same thing to me for a party, but it wasn't Gatsby. And when it started, you told me to leave.
Yes, and take feathers and replace it with vodka.
Yes,
I don't
because you do
love
hate
feathers
feathers.
because I'm allergic to them.
Yes, you are very allergic to them.
Yeah.
But it's not a Gatsby party, Poodle. It's a
Gatsby party.
A Gatsby party because it's
I didn't hate that name change, actually.
No, I didn't hate it at all. Y'all, it's Southern Charm. Season 8,
Southern
we're back.
Charm.
Great Ex-Pectations.
Which is mixing novels, which I have a little bit of a problem with. You're mixing a British novel, a Dickens British novel with Gatsby. So I think they should have thought about that. No one gives a shit about this.
Yeah.
I want to say this is the first Southern Charm that we're doing on this feed. Normally it's always been on Sweet Tea.
Really? We haven't done the first one?
Last time was on Sweet Tea, I believe.
Wow.
I think. Maybe. I'm wrong. Who cares?
Maybe I'll drop this episode on Sweet Tea just to remind anybody that's not listening to Reality Gaze, they got to jump over now. Or not. We'll see.
But yeah.
If you don't know by now, then I can't help you.
If you don't know me by now. Y'all, we're kind of done with the first leg of our Summer Should Be Fun tour. I'm back in Los Angeles. He's in some awful office that it looks like.
It's actually a really beautiful office. You're just getting the worst view because of the sunlight. It's my cousin Kelly, my Aunt Peggy's daughter, and she's got like this amazing massage chair. It's a very expensive massage chair, and I wish I had time to. I thought about doing the podcast in it, but I felt like I was saying, and then Kathryn, and so wouldn't work. But I really thought about it.
No, it's like bad office art. That kind of like there's game, bad paintings.
My cousin Dale is a hunter. These are actual paintings of their bird dogs.
Oh, they had them painted?
Yes, these are actual paintings of the bird dogs. They're dead now. They have other bird dogs.
But I'm saying a lot of times you'll see those in country clubs. You'll see that kind of same.
No, yeah, Kelly got him those as a gift.
Wow.
Dale Archer, PA, he's a great doctor. Sometimes he knew more than the doctors at MD.
So Ixnay on promoing your family. Gross.
Anyway. So yeah, y'all, the internet at the Marriott in the Ardmore sucked. So here I am.
Here you are in an office.
We just sang together, and I think it was together.
No, it wasn't.
I think we can do it from now on.
Nope, not gonna happen.
We are wearing the same color shirt today.
Mine's a little bit lighter.
Maybe we're vibing. Maybe you smelled my pang, and now we're vibing together.
No, I tried to forget you. We've spent way too much time together. I actually woke up this morning and I was like, I only have to see him here. I don't have to be in person.
Same. I'm not going to lie. Same.
We actually had a really good time this tour. Although it was hot as Satan's taint. Except for San Francisco where it was a little cold.
It feels worse than all of those here in Oklahoma. Because because it's 101 and it's 60% humidity. It is grosser than Columbus.
I'm sorry to do this, but I have to. Actually, not that bad. It's
like
82, but it feels like 80 here.
yeah. So
It's
anyway.
actually warm. People were complaining about it being hot.
No, it's true.
I did say we had so much fun. We just did our San Francisco Pride show on Thursday, which feels like four weeks ago.
It does.
But we had such a blast. We actually didn't record that, you guys. We were planning on it until very last minute, and the poor Gary at that venue
was doing enough.
We were actually I was still freaked out. I'm gonna go ahead and say this because I had to show him how to because they didn't have a computer to use with the board, so I was gonna have him use my computer, which happened like twice before. But usually they have their own laptop. So I made some playlists. I was like, okay, fine, we'll do it. It's fine. I get there. I have to show him how to scroll with 2 fingers on my laptop. He's like, how do you make it go up? And I went, uh-oh. This might be a problem.
But you know what? He did okay.
He did okay. The cues were about anywhere from 8 to 10 seconds late. Maybe not that late, but 5 seconds feels like an eternity for someone like me.
On stage, yeah.
Because y'all, I need cues fired immediately or I get a little itchy.
I think that just goes for like Poodle needs things immediately or he gets a little itchy.
Ow! Ow!
I think that is.
Help!
Help!
Help! Help! I'm in a single relationship. Help! That someone said.
I can't read it that way anymore.
Someone said, I think someone said, yeah, you're just crying out, help, blah, blah, blah. And I was on the plane and all I could think of was, help! I don't know why it makes me laugh, but it does.
I wanted that show to be better than it was, but it wasn't.
God awful. That
awful.
Reminds me, I'm going to be putting out, probably not today. No, it'll probably be today because we got work to do. Tomorrow, we're actually doing a YouTube Live for our $15 Patreon members.
And y'all, since you're listening to a Bravo show, we're going to announce it first here. But our good friend Ronnie Karen from Watch What Crappens is going to be with us. He's going to be with us on our Austen show.
Not YouTube Live.
No, he's going to be with us on our Austen live show, and we're going to be talking about Southern Charm. We're going to do 90 Day during that show, but we're just going to have a little. Ronnie's going to come up and talk a little bit about Southern Charm.
What date is that? I want to be able to give a date.
You have to look. I turned off all my phone because my family's all calling me saying, "Where you coming here? When you coming this? You want to go to Sonic? You want to go to Casa Romo?"
Can't you? This is why you don't need an enmeshed family. They need to just fuck off.
I love them.
Oh God, we need to take this off.
I couldn't do my mother's makeup this morning because I had to watch shows. She was disappointed. But,
wow.
Well, I love doing her makeup.
You need to process that. The Austen show. The Austen show is the 9th.
Sorry, I knew that, and I just remembered it once you found it because the 8th is Dallas.
God, 7, 8, bank 7, 8, 9, 3 shows in a row. We gonna be tired after San Diego. I'm telling you now. I'm gonna be living off of coffee, Adderall, and vodka.
So y'all do what you can for the holiday weekend, and then come see us in Austen with Ronnie. It's gonna be fun.
And the Reens. That show's gonna be packed.
It's gonna be packed. Yeah. So the VIP's already sold out. Sorry about it.
And Ronnie's not in the VIP because he's there just as a favor to us.
Oh no, he's coming, and then he's like gonna leave because I'm sure. I want him to bring his dog, but I don't think they let dogs in the theater.
I don't think he's ever brought his dog to a show. Maybe he has.
I love Bueller. He's the best dog. He's crazy. Anyway,
we need to get started because
we do.
You have some party tonight that your family has arranged, and they even though you said I have to do this for my work, they're like no. They don't understand. Okay. I just tell my parents to fuck off when I need to do something.
And then your mother punishes you later.
Yes, exactly.
So,
or like it is people like you have it. People just come over and visit, and where I podcast, people just knock on the door, like in the middle of I'm like, I can't do this right
Yeah, I'm actually working. We were kind of talking to this a little bit, but I mean, it's the first episode, so we didn't get a lot. I
Season
mean,
8.
season 8, episode 1. Overall, the thing that I want to start this with on a positive note of what we're looking forward to most about this season. Because we didn't love last season. And
No.
so what potential do we see in this season?
For me, the potential, I think, is the messiness between Craig and Naomi. That's kind of what I'm excited about seeing.
Yeah. Same.
I have been kind of hot and cold on Naomi throughout her time on the show.
Mhm.
I'm kind of okay with her now. That may change. I know you've always liked her more than me. I think I'm glad she got rid of the tool.
Matul was, y'all.
Matul.
That man was scary.
Controlling.
Oh,
he was hot though.
But he was. Oh, so glad she dumped him. Mine has to say is, I think I'm going to enjoy. Look, say what you want to. I'm kind of taking Winter House off of and Summer House out of the equation for me now. I'm looking at this as like new show, new start. Let's see. I'm so looking forward to Craig finally having success after all the years of Shep and Austen making him feel like a loser.
100%.
And I am looking forward to the two of those men being so uncomfortable with Craig and their relationship just being a shit show this season.
It's already starting.
And
they are both so transparent, kind of like talking. We'll get to it. They're like, yeah, Craig's not even our friend anymore. They sound like second graders.
They do.
Because you guys, when this show started, Craig was the loser who couldn't pass the bar.
A fucking loser of losers.
And look where we are now. He was on Summer Charm. He was on Summer House. He has his own pillow line. He is in a very high profile relationship with Paige. And I think Miss Paige is one of the reasons why she would say, "Why are you hanging out with those losers?" Because finally someone is in his ear who's saying who's exactly what these men are. That's what I think has a lot to do with it.
It'll be interesting too, because a lot of these women that they say all the time on the show, the women that live in Charleston say a lot, these men have Peter Pan syndrome, and they kind of accept it as that's the way it is.
Paige
does not. She's a New Yorker. She doesn't give a fuck.
She's going to be interesting. Y'all know,
it is.
If you listen to Summer House, I was kind of done with her this season because of certain ways she acted. We're not even going to get into that because this is not talking about her on that season. No. But I'm looking forward to seeing how she behaves. She's still not my favorite person. It's so weird because if I had not seen the last season of Summer House, and I think Paige was on it. Paige was on this season. I think I'd be so excited. But
I'm still so excited. I'm gonna say Paige just had an off summer, but I do. Okay. There's a big part of me still really loves her. I just can't. I can't. I'm not ready to give up yet. I have hope for Paige. We'll see how she does this season.
Yeah,
on Southern Charm.
It's just it's.
But
hard
I get
for
it.
me to get past it.
I totally get it. Yeah, it'll be okay. So those are some things we're looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to Michael being gone.
No, that was kind of I'm worried about. Not worried, but I'm wondering about how they're going to. Are they going to just interview new butlers? Because Patricia can't live in a house without a butler.
I hope this is like a fucking. I'm dating myself, but Poodle's going to get it. I hope this butler search is like fucking Murphy Brown and her secretary.
Yes.
The old Murphy Brown, not the reboot they tried to do. That was one of the worst pieces of shit on television.
Remember how we were so excited and we were all watching. You're like, oh my God, is this how the original was? What was wrong with us?
What was wrong? It was so bad.
I think things have changed, and the show didn't change with it.
No.
Those jokes were so creaky. Oof.
Yeah, it was rough. was real rough.
Maybe if I watch the old episodes, maybe I'll be the same way. A lot of things change. However, the other Linda Bloodworth Thomason and Harry Thomason shows, like Designing Women still kind of works.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, it does. I didn't know Linda Bloodworth Thomason did Murphy Brown.
Didn't she? Am I
No,
wrong?
I'm not I didn't know who did it. I didn't know she did it. So that makes sense. Totally makes sense. I believe it.
Keep talking while I look at this.
Oh, look, they have bookends that look like books for their books.
I meant about the show.
oh, it's such a pretty office.
No, you know what? You're right. I don't see her on this at all. Michael Patrick King was a producer, though. Diane English.
She was a big one. She was like the showrunner, I think of it. You know what? No one cares. Let's just
created by Diane English. Yeah.
Let's just hope that the reboot for Night Court is better. And if they don't bring back that theme song, I'm not watching because I'm already upset that Marky Post is dead.
I don't think that the show had anything to do with that. Allegedly. Let's get into this. We're gonna skip over the showing people where they are section because I hate that. I've grown to hate it. So let's just jump into Naomi and Venita. Now, apparently, even though Naomi wasn't on last season and Venita was brought in last season, Naomi and Venita know one another?
Yes, and I think it's been a hot minute because it's been like 2 years since we had a Southern Charm.
Yeah, but she's been on the show. We've seen Venita as like a friend before.
But I think that's what we knew, that she was friends with Naomi before.
Okay. I just don't remember. And it made sense because Leva was a big and Leva seemed to be friends with Venita. And it was a little disorienting.
Yes.
I brought this up to you. I was going to talk more about it. Remember, you guys, this is for the first season that Danny is not a full cast member.
Oh,
Danny,
which
she's been on since like season 2. And remember that Danny and Venita seemed to have, and Danny was the friend who kind of brought all the other ancillary friends together.
Yeah.
So it feels like I keep looking at Venita. I'm thinking. And it's a big deal about Venita and Kathryn not getting along. And I'm thinking, who cares? Who cares whether they're friends or not?
I think Naomi makes it. We were talking before. Last year, it felt kind of like how are Leva and Venita into this. It felt like people were just now casting on a reality show, and they really weren't friends in real life.
It felt like we have to find a way to address Kathryn's racist comments. And we're going to do that through 2 people in the show who don't seem to have any stakes with this person. There's no friendship between them. So why should it matter to her? That was a big thing we were talking about in that season. And all what they said needed to be said. All of those arguments they were making were viable, and Kathryn was guilty of it. However, what was her reasoning? Kathryn's just because she's a good person to listening, and it's just like when you have an intervention with someone, it's because they're your friends or family, not 2 people who are your ancillary characters.
And that probably goes to show why Kathryn said that and didn't think about it, because she clearly doesn't have probably hardly any black friends.
Right.
And so it just felt clunky. And I think though now, just already, either Naomi is a great actress, but her and Venita, you at least seem to be actual friends. Like there seems to be
agree.
A history between them. And Leva works in restaurants. Her father had a restaurant. You can tell that her and Leva are friends as well. It all feels. So I actually think that's going to be good to make. I think better than Danny in a way, because it won't be just one person. It's like I actually think we'll develop cliques, because it was like Danny has to be a friend to all,
right? But Danny was the Kathryn whisperer, so who's going to do it now?
I don't know. I think we're going to get unbridled Kathryn, and I'm kind of here for it. But anyway, so they play tennis. Nothing really happened. They're just kind of they're just talking about, apparently there was It's weird how they don't address it, but I guess Cameron sent a letter that said cease and desist from ever using my fucking name in this show again,
I have a
Whitney.
feeling, yeah.
That's what I think, because Kathryn and Naomi got into a fight because, and the Instagram post that they're alluding to, y'all, is when last season when Kathryn said, kind of out of the blue, that Cameron's husband was having an affair.
Because that Jason was cheating on Cameron.
Yes, and everybody's kind of like, what? And Naomi called her like basically a homewrecker, and that she was just making up lies.
She
and
was trying to
on
destroy her
Instagram.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now
that's where that comes from.
She went at her, and apparently, and it was, and Kathryn was struck because, now, should she have said all those things? No, but Naomi had been there for the death of her parents, and for Kathryn, it was like kind of a 180, like, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously haven't talked, but Kathryn was saying, I'm going to invite you because it's my 30th Catsby party. And now, do you think Kathryn's grown up, or is she the same messy person we've seen? Now, she's obviously been very upfront with talking about addiction, and she's said on the show that it was marijuana. We have been very suspicious of that. Yeah. I'm almost certain it was something harder, but she has not been forthcoming about that.
She has not. I will say that I think this is the best Kathryn's looked in a long time. Like, she looks healthy.
Yeah. The hair isn't great though.
But I just mean, like, except for at her party when she started using retinol and her face broke out and red stuff. But which is the most Kathryn thing to do, y'all.
Yes. At your own party, don't put retinol on your face the night before.
No, especially if you've never tried it before. Give yourself, no. But
that was funny. She's like, sorry, I'm using retinol.
It's just such a Kathryn thing on her 30th. That's just such a fucking Kathryn thing to do.
She looked great at that. She did. That fucking Daisy Buchanan tiara thing looked great.
She looked great. Caleb looked great. I think that she's going. I will say, in watching this show, I went, "What? Kathryn's only 30?" Because y'all forget what she has gone through on this show. She has lived such a fucking life on this show.
I think she came on the show when she was 21 years old.
Yeah. What I'm hoping is, when we first met Kathryn, she was bonkers crazy, out of control, couldn't control her anger, just like a walking stick of dynamite. Then she had that kind of like, then Trashley came on the show, and Kathryn kind of had her redemption of Kathryn withholding it, trying to act like Patricia Altschul. She was trying to, really. Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe the pendulum has swung from one end to the other end, and now maybe we're getting somewhere in the middle of who Kathryn really is.
Kathryn comes off best when someone else is the villain in their storyline. It's always better when she
shows her ass. She can't help it.
Agreed.
She can't help it.
The big thing that we find out from Naomi and Venita is that they hooked up. Craig and Naomi hooked up in Vegas. Shocker.
And it's weird because the last time we saw Craig and Naomi, y'all, like, Craig was broken. Craig was so broken, and Naomi was just like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah,
you're terrible for me. Yeah. And it's a flip, because even when she was talking with Venita, I was like, why is she acting coy about this? As if she still likes him.
No, y'all, Naomi even talked about, she's like, I got handed my ass. So I think it kind of broke her a little bit.
Matul was cheating on her. She went to New York, and Matul was cheating on her.
But she was like, I was going to say, bye, bitches. I'm moving to New York, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have this great life as a doctor's wife. And, she basically said, I was too big for my britches. And now I'm back. Like, oh, well. So I think that kind of humbled her, and she kind of rethought about everything she probably said to Craig. And because she was, yes, he was shitty to her. She was really mean to him.
She was really mean to him. And Craig even said that later on in the show. He said that Naomi said to him, everything you said was right.
I don't know if that's true.
That's what he said.
But that's what he said.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Bump, bump. So
that's what he said. That's what he said.
Okay. Now, so that's kind of what we get from there. Now, we get a little bit of, we see that Shep just kind of mentions that Shep says that he doesn't think Craig, and he said Austen for that. He's talking to Austen, but he said Craig and even Austen haven't really done a great job of maintaining the friendship because they haven't talked about this and they probably won't. But I bet Shep is also jealous that Craig and Austen have their own podcast.
100%.
Pillows and beer, right?
Pillows and beer.
Pillows and beer.
I haven't listened. People told me we can skip it. They've been doing live shows too.
Oh, well, good for them. It's hard to start a podcast. We know that. I have
a feeling they just get blitzed and do the show.
Yeah, I think that's it. What do you think about, so we finally meet, y'all, Caleb. They're not mentioning that Caleb's last name is Ravenel with two L's.
With two L's.
Which means that probably
the extra L is for extra slave ownership.
That his family was.
Let's be honest.
Yes, that the Ravenel family probably enslaved his family. Analyze
allegedly.
That. Allegedly.
I mean, what else could it be? I mean,
like if they did a DNA test, he could be related to Kathryn's children.
And I'm saying this now, you guys. Ravenel is a huge name in the lower part of the state of South Carolina, especially around Charleston. Like the bridge is named for his ancestor.
Yeah.
Like there a lot of political figures have been named Ravenel in South Carolina history.
So, but this is the first time we meet. First of all, he's real cute. And he
is cute, and he seems nice. He seems like he loves. Yeah. I don't know if he loves her, but he seems like he treats her well.
I think he loves her. They moved in together. And Kathryn says they kind of took it slow. This kind of like, if we're talking about Vanita and Leva felt a little forced last season, this is a new person. And this feels totally believable.
I believe this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe all this. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm happy for Kathryn in this moment because it's kind of too like, I like that he seems maybe a little more immature or youthful, but I kind of think Kathryn needs that because she was with fucking old man Ravenel and dealing with that. And she had to grow up so quickly.
I think he's trying to protect her from a lot of the garbage that she's around, which is really what she needs.
Good luck.
And maybe he's trying to make her make better, healthier choices in the people she hangs out with, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And maybe so I just want to say I want to get into that Shep Austen conversation a little bit more. Y'all, they are so jealous of Craig. It just seethes from them.
It does. And, it really does.
Now, a couple things here why Austen might be a little pissed off at Craig. He has said on Winter House and Summer House, Austen is like terrible. He's a terrible person. Like he has said that on television about his so-called friend.
We never knew why. We kind of are starting to find out why now on this episode of Southern Charm.
What do you mean? Why?
Because he would say it on Winter. He would just kind of like with Austen with girls, like Craig would talk about Austen being terrible, but he never said why. Like for him, he would just say he's always like fucking some girl, like he's a loser. And you kind of like, but one thing I know about Craig often will come from a place of his own pain, but he'll talk about what somebody has done to someone else instead of talking about what's been done to him.
That's very true.
And this episode, we kind of find out, again, Craig is basically like, Austen doesn't fucking keep any secrets, and I don't know if he's a good friend to me.
Right. And it's weird because they're breaking away from this idea of three middle-aged men who are entrenched in bro code and they could do any. And now Craig is kind of the one who's trying to, and I use this in quote fingers very lightly, grow up. And not be so reliant on his bros for that type of validation and only having friendship with and finding a friend finding someone he's in a relationship with, who he can also be a friend with, Paige. So
Yeah.
I
And that's part of it, is that when you get in a relationship, you have to choose. Like, if your relationship comes important, you often need to choose that relationship above a bro code.
right.
And Austen, y'all remember, Shep is 42 years old and still acting the way he acts.
That's true.
That's something.
Isn't it weird how his behavior and the way he talks, especially when he was talking to Craig at the party, he's like, I'm a man. Why would I want to be in a retail establishment? And I was like, you feel out of touch now. You just do. The world has passed you by. If you're still doing Tim Allen jokes, I think it's a little. I think the world has passed you by. Ridiculous.
It is like someone dropped Foghorn Leghorn into this, and it hasn't aged well.
No.
And it makes sense though too, because Craig or Shep, out of all these people on this show, probably more than any, has the most status in the hierarchy of
and
South Carolina.
And say what
classes.
you want to about him, Shep is a very intelligent person, probably the most intelligent of those three men.
But give me someone who's mediocre, smart, who's humble about it, over someone who's smart and says how smart they are any day. Because that is
true. But I'm just saying he should know better. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, he should know better. Well, I will say his emotional intelligence is not on par with Craig's.
Agreed. So the next thing, I think, when we get into this, so we talked about Pat. One thing, Austen does talk about Olivia, the new girl he met through Leva. Mm-hmm. And we'll meet Olivia a little bit later. But I don't know. It's just feels like another girl character in a story for Austen.
Honestly,
maybe I'm wrong.
Another blonde girl who's made bad decisions.
I love her parents, though.
I know, I do too.
So we get to Whitney, who is taking dogs out, and dogs are, of course, shitting all over the floor, Osborne style.
They are.
And he uses vodka to clean it up because he can't find the enzyme stuff.
Hey.
And that's where we find out that Pat says, Michael in the stroke. And she's like, my last marriage was 15 years. Michael was my longest relationship. And she's missing him. So
they were together 17 years.
I hope it's like an Apprentice style Butler search.
I'm telling you, they could make a new reality show, a competition show of Patricia Altschul's Butler. I would watch that show. I would watch it Whitney, we just gave you a show idea.
We did. You owe us. He's a smart businessman too. So,
and I guess Michael,
he's the only one who's a producer on the show.
That's true. Michael had that stroke, so I guess she said he's paralyzed from the chest down.
He is. He's in a wheelchair.
That's very sad. Very sad.
He's in Florida, I think, at a facility.
Yeah, he's at a home, facility.
So, Kathryn is shopping for ties for Caleb.
Yes.
And they are, the only thing in here is just knowing, y'all, there are so many pretentious menswear stores in Charleston that are like this. It is one of the few places where you can, as a man, you can spend just as much money on your wardrobe. And there's just as many places. There's something about these peacocks who strut around Charleston like this. Actually, probably in New York City too, but
in LA, but just in a different vibe.
Yeah, but it's like it's so preening, and it's
Boy, you would fit in like shit on Shinola.
Men are so flamboyant in the way they dress in Charleston. It's just it's old South shit. So
John Pringle is not a flamboyant man.
God, I forget how hot he is. He's still the hottest person on the show to me. I mean, Craig is handsome, but Pringle is hot.
You just think because Pringle would choke you a little bit.
He would, y'all. He dirty.
It is funny. We have this
spit in your face.
Yeah. John Pringle and I have a mutual friend, and so we're Facebook friends Although I just like his stuff. But
He's messaged just a couple times.
but the mutual friend we have is totally a woohoo girl, or used to be.
Yeah.
Like a woohoo, just like, wah! Like just toured around the country, going to different concert venues.
Oh, bless.
Yes,
so
he's talking to Craig in
at
Craig's
Sewing
store.
Down South.
Yes,
Because
and that
unlike Shep, he's a man who could spend time in a retail establishment.
retail store. And Craig is like, yeah, Shep barely came to my pillow opening. Taylor had to force him here. So I think there's jealousy. Also, have you seen my asshole? It's so smooth.
It is smoother than one of those pillows over there.
So smooth.
I will say this. They have never treated Craig's business ventures seriously.
No.
And now that he's actually doing well, they're eating crow and they'll never admit it.
And Pringle even admits, he says, yeah, I think Shep is jealous too. So I don't think this is just a Craig in his head type of thing.
Right. A couple of other things. They're talking about one of the reasons that Craig also has a problem is Austen basically when Craig started kind of seeing, they weren't exclusive, seeing Paige when she was down in Charleston, Austen straight up told her that Craig had a rebound with Natalie, and Paige is like, yeah, he told me. And Craig's like, that's not a loyal friend.
Like that happened in front of him and Paige. Like they did that. So
right.
Austen said it in front of all three of them. And I thought about that. And I thought, y'all, Poodle and I have been friends for as long as they have. Well, longer actually. But there's we are shady to each other sometimes, but not that's another level of resentment and your own bullshit that you would never say in front of another relationship. You would never call me out on something. I would never call you out on something that would deliberately hurt my partner.
Hurt your relationship. Yeah.
That just, because at first I kind of watched it and thought, oh, that's so Craig and Austen. But then I thought about what that would mean to me if someone.
Oh, it's
and
terrible.
That's where I went. That's real. Craig is right. That's a really fucking bad friend who would do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with Austen, we've definitely seen true colors on Summer House and Winter House. And when you take him out of the environment of Southern Charm, where he is kind of the not the worst misogynist on the show, he's
That's
number
really
3.
True.
He's in the rankings.
But on Winter House and Summer House, he's the worst.
He's the worst.
You're right.
And as soon as you take him and you pluck him into another environment, and he becomes the most disgusting fuckboy alive. Because in Charleston, it's the environment.
That is so good. That's a good comment.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, it's just I think we give him a pass because
we do.
Because
he was destroyed by Madeline's. Madison.
Madison.
He was completely eviscerated by her, y'all. And it was hard to watch because she basically ate his heart, chewed it up, and threw it up in front of him and made him eat it.
Yeah.
He threw it up and she ate it again.
Yeah.
And in all while saying, you say you're sorry to me.
Yes, this is your fault.
Yeah, it was. I still think she's a terrible person for what she did and the things that she did. Even though he's a terrible person too, but boy, there was the way she did it. But we're gonna talk about her a little bit later. But it's interesting. He's basically being the same Austen that we knew, and it's not gonna get any better. And he is very jealous. He's very jealous of Craig and where he is with Paige because he wishes he had a cool girl. Just bottom line.
Because Shep got with Taylor, and so it kind of really became even more. It already was Austen and Craig, but it became even more Austen and Craig, and so now that's breaking apart as well. Shep, we get a little update. Shep is with Taylor. They've been together for like 2 years. Didn't someone Instagram message us and say that apparently there's rumors that Shep cheats on
Yeah.
her right and left?
Yeah. We should also take a quick break because it's on the free feed.
All right.
We meet a fun character. It's Olivia's mama.
We're making ranch waters. Would you like one?
Daddy can give him the drill when he comes up.
Drill when
I love this woman. She is so, y'all, this is every woman in South Carolina. Every mom, this is her.
No, I enjoy her parents. I hope we see more of them. Olivia, y'all, is a new blonde. This is who Austen is dating. Well,
no, let's be fair. Let's be fair. We don't want to. She has more to offer, I'm sure, than just her hair. But to Austen, she's the new blonde. But she seems,
to Austen, yes, that's what I mean. She actually seems interesting on the show,
and I think she's going to stand up for herself,
and she's going to be fun. Like, yeah. She seems interesting. If I met her and we just met her, I probably would look at her more as a person. But just anytime someone's with Austen, I'm already like, oh, what's wrong with them? Something's wrong in their head to date this man.
Basically, a lot of times we're just meeting another blonde wig because we don't know how long they'll be around. Yeah,
exactly.
But this one, we're learning she has a personality. Now, that's partly the problem with the show. Is that we see these women who come and go. It also has these fuckboys who date one, and we get their name, and we never see them again.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes.
So the mom is like, "What's on with the skull and crossbones on those shoes? You know, it's very eye catching, but I don't think Daddy's gonna like that.
I don't think."
It's so good.
It's so funny because people in LA wouldn't even think about that.
Not at all. She's like, skull and crossbones. What's that?
What would your mother, if you had skull and crossbones on your shoes, what would your mother say?
Yes, she was like, what is that? God, Jay Bird, why do you have, people might think something of you when you wear stuff like that. On camera, she would be really, she's like, what is, oh my goodness, boy, that's something, isn't it? That makes a statement. God. All I do is look at your shoes. Looks like you're a pirate. You want people to think you're a pirate? Jaybird, you can do better. She is hypercritical, y'all. You know my mother. She's extremely critical.
Is this something from your podcast?
It's how I became who I am now, and I'm still working on it after years and years and years. I'm much better, but y'all, it is when you're raised in an environment that is hypercritical, where everything you have, it's very difficult, as my own mother says, to live above your raising and to live in a different way. It takes a lot of self-work, takes a lot of therapy. You have to make a lot of choices on how you want to behave. So I would encourage everyone, if you're upset by the way you still can't get out of patterns from your childhood, keep working on it. We deserve a lot of slack because the things you learn in your first 18 years are the hardest to unlearn. So
true.
Yeah.
True.
Anyway, where were we?
All right. Austen picks her up. So Kathryn is friends with Olivia. And Kathryn's just talking about once she's getting her makeup done that she reached out to Naomi. And that's where she said, I just wanted a fresh start. And we see kind of on the phone that Craig did tell Kathryn that he and Naomi hooked up again in Vegas and that she was kind of gaga over him and wanted things to progress, but he told her that he was starting to date Paige.
Which I could believe. Y'all, they were together. They were together for 2 years. When it's really heated like that, when like people don't have huge fights like that when there's no emotion present.
No, that's very true.
So that was like his first big relationship, her first big relationship. They had a lot of love for one another. So it's going to make a lot of sense when Naomi is devastated for her life, had the rug pulled out from under her. She's going to go with what's familiar.
And, I think one thing that led Naomi to Matul is she felt like Craig was a loser. And so she said, well, I'm going to do an about face and I'm going to date someone that's going to be a doctor, someone that's successful. Like that's what she, on paper, the guy who's great. And then she ended up dating this monster who cheated on her. And like she said, she felt like she changed herself for him. And then in the meantime, guess what? The guy who you thought was a loser now became the most successful person probably on this show.
Yes. And one of the more successful people on probably known in social media wise on Bravo shows.
Yes.
Like
so now, So now it's like, oh, okay, this looks better than I thought.
That, and I don't know if it was that apparent, but I think that was part of it. But I think she realized what later on he's like, yes, he said everything I said was right. I think especially about Matul. I think Craig saw through it, and I think a lot of Naomi's friends probably did as well, but they didn't really want to tell her because everything.
No.
So Craig was in a position to say things about Matul that he knew because anyone could look at and see that that it wasn't right.
Yeah,
and because we all watched Matul through our fingers, like when he said, "Yeah, eat that diabetes cake." To her, and they showed the part of it. But
yeah, he was horrible.
Do you want to get to the party?
Yeah, I think that's basic. I mean, we get Naomi's getting rather with Levy and Vanita. There's nothing really.
Levy.
I said Levy.
When the levers broke.
When the levers broke. But kind of all that we know is Naomi does say that we did get together. It wasn't a big deal. And she says, we had a big love. She's like, I admit that both of us had a big love, but she tells Leva, like, don't do what you normally do and be like a mom and get all about it. And then that's kind of it. Then we get to the party.
Yeah.
Kathryn and Caleb show up. They both look gorgeous. It's the great Catsby.
Yeah. Everyone looks great. I think Craig looks really good because he took, and of course Shep walks in and his clothes half fit him.
Bless that
like
man.
Normal.
I know that man can't dress for nothing. Craig looks great. Paige looks great. All the women, I think I thought all the women on the show kind of knocked it out of the park. Shep looks okay.
I did not like Naomi's feather thing. I did not think it looked good.
On the side, yeah. I liked her dress.
Everyone else looked great.
I don't remember what Austen looked like. Oh wait, no, Austen looked nice. He looked nice.
But yeah, Shep always looks like a schlub. So money and name can't buy, like Candace Luann says, money can't buy you class.
He really is kind of the drunk, rich, old grandpa that has to get invited to everything, that everyone just rolls their eyes when he talks.
Yeah, pretty much. He's the new Thomas. Sad to say. At least Thomas dressed better.
Wow, he is kind of the new Thomas.
Yep. But that's really mean to say, but because he's no one's going to be as bad as Thomas right now.
Well, he's not someone who should be. Shep is not someone who should be in prison. Shep has a good heart. I think Shep does have a good heart.
I think so too.
He has so much insecurity and also just a lot of pressure, and it's coming out in this episode of being what a man is in Charleston and all that kind of stuff.
Right. What did you think of Paige meeting everyone?
I mean, it was weird just to see her there.
Wasn't it? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is one of those like kind of like guest stars when like
in a sitcom. Yes.
When like Arnold would go to a different sitcom from Different Strokes would like show up on, I don't know what was in the same world.
Oh, and didn't Alf join in another sitcom too? And you're like, why is Alf?
That was pretty self-contained, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if Alf could just be put in any different sitcom.
He was.
Look that up, and maybe I'm wrong. I just think that's a leap. Having to put a puppet on someone else's show. No, Alf was. No one ever knew Alf existed, so Alf could never guest on another sitcom. They had to protect because it's Mrs. Achmonic, and the Achmonics next door were always wondering what was going on. So I take issue with you here. Alf never guested on another sitcom. No, you're incorrect. You can look all you want. He did. He had an animated spinoff which I watched. God, how do I know so much about fucking Alf?
You really
Alf.
loved Alf.
Give the old Alf a hug.
I'm trying to think of like.
Oh, by the way, if you ever go on YouTube and you look for Alf outtakes, I'm warning you now. It is very disturbing. It's really disturbing.
Well, okay. Actually, this is Gilligan's Island was a crossover on Alf. Alf had a dream, and in the dream, he was on the island of Gilligan's Island. So that happened.
But no, that's not a normal sitcom crossover. That's not as a show that did not happen. That was like a reunion. That's not the same as what I was talking about.
I know. I'm just, but maybe that's why. And then Alf was on Mr. Robot recently.
Again, not a crossover. I'm talking about when people do spinoffs, like the guy from Empty Nest would go on Golden Girls, because those were spinoffs of that show. That's what a crossover I'm talking about is.
Someone needs to do a listicle, because they used to do these in the 80s all the time.
Yeah.
And
the guy from Just the
Ten
of Us would be on Head of the Class or something like that.
They would do shows where people like started in one show, like Empty Nest started on Golden Girls. Oh, I do remember. Wasn't Steve Urkel on Full House once? And that blew my mind.
That maybe,
I think that happened.
One was in Chicago and one was in San Francisco.
I know, but I feel like
I don't know. Maybe he was. That I can't be certain of.
I don't know. Well, this is a deep
feels
dive.
Like you're pulling this out of your hat, out of your ass.
No. I remember. Mad About You and Friends.
Yes,
that was I remember that. Yes. Steve Urkel was on Full House. There's a picture of him sitting on Michelle's bed. I don't remember why. I don't remember how it happened, but I remember that image and thinking it was weird.
Those worlds aren't even connected.
I know. Well, they're all, on TGIF.
I guess. See, this, this is such a weird rabbit hole to go down. We have to move on.
We do, but this is how it felt watching Paige with everyone on the show.
Yes, it was. Now, she kind of said and she wasn't weird or cold, but she was introduced to Naomi, and it was like, okay, we can. And also, Naomi's like, I'm fine with Paige showing up. She's really not, but
she's not.
But that's fine. Now, what? And Kathryn was talking to Shep, and she tells him about everything that was happening with Craig and Naomi, and she's like, so Naomi apparently said, Bob, that's where she said everything was right, and she's like, and I want to be exclusive with you. So that's what Craig told Kathryn. I don't know if Kathryn's just starting and then he tells Shep. So
yes, she is.
So she started to start drama.
Kathryn still likes to start. She just can't help it. It's second nature to her.
So what did you think? And then you heard the shade rattle, and in walks in Madison LaCroix. Madison, and the temperature changes in the room.
Well, it changes because Austen can't handle it, and this is why I like Olivia, because Olivia said, it is so evident that there's some unprocessed things here.
He's not over it. Yeah,
he is not over it at all. He is so transparent. Y'all, when your ex shows up at a party, don't say to the person you're with, I am so over them. I am so over. That is the worst thing you could do.
No, you ignore them. That's what you do.
You ignore them, and then you make it about that. You say, if the person walked by, say, I hope this isn't weird for you. I don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah, you make it the other person.
Okay. Yeah, and they would say, I'm fine. And then you would do you're like, and oh boy, take a lesson. He read the wrong book on this one.
I think it is, though, with someone who you've had such an emotional kind of history with. So it's not just the breakup. It's that what they said to one another on that tell-all and what they probably said to one another in fights were probably the worst things they'd ever said to another person.
Oh yeah,
And also the most loving things they've ever said to another person.
And he has hurt her so much as well, and she will never admit that. But instead, she will punish him for the rest of her life, and she will totally go after Olivia. And then we saw a little bit of a teaser of that. Like,
yeah, she's gonna go after Olivia, sadly.
I don't think we're going to get a Paige and Naomi fight. I don't think
probably not.
Paige isn't into that. I think Paige might come at Craig. But
Paige is going to come at Craig. I don't put it past her that we'll get shadiness from Paige, but she's not going to fight with her. I think you're right.
I don't think so at all. And so
We'll see. So a couple of other things. Why do you think this was a confusing conversation for me? Why Caleb was talking to Benita, and in the middle of Kathryn's birthday, talking about why she still doesn't like her.
Again, it felt like they were talking around things. Here we have, to me, it felt like it was confusing because I didn't know, wait a minute, are you and Vanita friends? But it almost alluded, did you and Vanita date? Like, it was confusing.
It was
confusing.
It confuses me because I use this term all the time. There's no emotional currency between Vanita and Kathryn. Is there any between Caleb and Vanita? Why does everyone need to be making sure everyone's okay with everyone?
I felt like they were trying to basically say, I felt like Vanita was saying, hey, I'm a black woman, you're a black man, you're with a woman who has said some pretty racist shit. How do you feel about that? How is that going? But they didn't want to talk about that on the show. So that's why we felt like we were talking around the elephant in the room.
Right. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And that's what's so frustrating about it. If they would have just said that, I'm like, okay, I can buy that.
She's dating a black man now. And that happened right when all this went on. Why not talk about that and say like, and maybe we're not black, obviously, so maybe there's an unspoken thing that I don't know. I don't want to put words in their mouth. It just felt weird.
The other thing is, why would Caleb be trying to make sure she's okay with Kathryn at all? Like, it's just like, who cares?
Who cares? And it's also, just because also Caleb is black, does that mean he has to answer for Kathryn's past? Like, yeah, it felt a little bit like,
and they started dating after that, and
like he knows what she said, he knows all about that, and I kind of feel like why put that upon? That's like,
why is Caleb there to explain? Yeah.
It's why like when white people ask black people to explain things, it's the same kind of thing. Well, just because he doesn't need to do that.
Don't explain. He does not have to explain why he's with her.
Yeah, he's with her, and he's made that decision. And okay,
but I'm saying what they made it about whether Vanita was where Kathryn was friendly to Vanita, like they're friends, and that's what confused both of us because if this is about friendship, then who the fuck cares? If it's about why are you with this person, talk about that.
Or if it's that you are Caleb's ex and Kathryn feels weird about, then talk about that.
This is what was annoying about we talked. This is what was so different about talking about race in Summer House. That was so different.
Glad it's not me.
Yeah. No, I correct myself. I have to correct you. That's the difference.
I correct myself.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I don't care. You get what you get, y'all.
But it just feels weird. We're not getting transparency here.
No.
And the show's dancing around it instead of actually. They tried to talk about it last season, but again, it felt fake because Kathryn doesn't have any black friends. And it's almost like, so why should she listen? Because she's on a show being talked to? That's it.
Yeah.
It's that's still why that season felt super heavy and super heavy-handed, because she has no accountability.
which now it'd be interesting, but I don't think she'll ever want to revisit again. It'll be interesting to hear how Kathryn feels now, because I know, admittedly, as a white person, I had some in college, but I didn't have a ton of black friends. I have way more black friends now that I'm in a relationship with the black man, and I've met his friends. They've become my friends. And so it'd be interesting to hear how Kathryn's if she's changed now. But
the show's never going to do that.
But the show's never going to do that. So, yeah.
So I'm trying to think, is there anything else we're getting into?
That's kind of it. All I have is that Naomi and Kathryn kind of blow up at the end, which
and the Shep, Craig, Austen
yeah, we talked about it before, but yes. We can get into it more. Let's talk about that.
So they're basically saying, we never see you anymore. We never see you anymore, Craig.
Well, and Shep does what he always does. We're like, come on, everybody. It's like, again, you're so right. It is like Grandpa Shep saying, just like old times, let's all have a drink and
the
sit
men
like
are going to gather out with cigars.
Like we're all like we used to. And you're sitting there going, you're not like you used to. You're so far removed from that.
I don't know if you remember this earlier when he's like, yeah, none of us have changed. I'm like, yes, a lot of you have changed. You haven't. You're the same person.
I have to say, even Austen has changed a lot.
He has.
And Austen still is emotionally in relationships a loser. But I will say Austen's doing this podcast, which, like it or not, they're somewhat successful. And
Shep doesn't have to do anything because he's got
Shep doesn't have to do anything. And because he gets mailbox money. But Austen, like, Trop Hop is selling in a lot of places and doing decently well, I think.
I don't know. I don't think it's half as well as Craig's doing. Probably.
No, not at all. But I mean, Austen is like working and trying to make something of himself work-wise.
And so anyway, and they ask about that. Austen calls Craig the best liar because he wouldn't tell him that Naomi and he hooked up. And he's like, I want to tell you because you tell everybody. And he's right.
And then Shep jumps in and says, wait, Craig, you try to say you're his best friend, but you're so mean to him behind his back. And I went, oh, Shep, that's how you spot it. You got it. Because that's what Shep does to both of those guys is he talks shitty to them, but he's even worse to them behind their backs.
But remember how mean he was to Craig?
He's so mean to both of them.
He named his dog Craig.
Y'all. That's when I still will never have full respect from Shep after he named his dog Craig.
That's all it took. But so there's that one spat at the end. This is interesting, and I don't know if I missed something because Kathryn is losing it. She's like, I'm ready to go home.
We should say for people that didn't watch, Craig brings up that Shep didn't go into the store, and that's when Shep says that comment. And he says, Shep even says, Craig, I root for you all the time. And I went, that's not true.
It's not true.
And Shep's like, what do you mean? And Craig just finally says, I'm out. I'm not having this conversation. So now you can talk about Kathryn and all that. So
he's like, she's like, do we in the same bag? And she goes over there.
Well, and Caleb and Kathryn get into it, by the way.
Yeah.
Get into it before that.
He's trying to say, I just want you to have a good time.
Kathryn calls him... Kathryn kind of goes off the deep end here. I just forgot about this.
Why aren't you loyal to me? Because she's talking to Vanita.
And he's saying, dude, I'm trying to be on your side and just I'm trying to be the peacemaker. And Kathryn's like, I don't want a peacemaker.
And I think this is weird, but I think this is valid.
I do. I see
why should you be doing this at her birthday party from someone who's not her friend? And it's like, And Caleb can say, this is my business. I want to talk to this person. Instead of saying, I was trying to help keep the peace for you. I would say the same thing. I don't need a fucking peacemaker.
Yeah, because I think Caleb is going to be one of those guys. Like, he seems like a fine enough guy. We don't know him that well yet, but he does seem like a guy that nothing's wrong. And later on this season, he's going to get tired of kind of trying to just push things under the rug to make the peace. And then he's going to get pissed. I think
they're still together. So
I think they are, yeah. Because I think Shep and Taylor are not together now, right?
That has been reported.
We don't. Yes. That's not. Yeah, that's
That's one of those blind items. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes, Kathryn's looking for a purse.
And she basically says, you, what is this? You tried to be a good person to I can't read my writing.
Oh, Lord.
She starts fighting with her about
Naomi says you tried to ruin a good person's
That's what it is.
family.
You're trying to ruin a good person's family. That's what
and Kathryn's like, what are you talking about? You're so fake. And again, I thought I kind of saw Naomi's side on this.
Well, she said, I don't like the way you fight. And because she's like, you think you're the loudest person in the room.
That is how Kathryn fights. She just yells and screams.
I think what's happening is it's really hard. Naomi was trying to drop the rope and walk away. But instead of, I think if you're going to do one of two things with Kathryn, either you're going to elevate to her level, or you have to completely shut down. Anything in the middle is not going to go well for you at all.
No.
And I think that's what she was like, I can't fight with you. Why are you doing this? And she was trying to reason with her, and that's not going to work.
No, because Kathryn fights like a pit bull. Once she grabs onto a rope with that lockjaw, she won't let go unless you show her a treat for her to bite it.
Right.
You've got to give her a little bit and make her feel a little validated or a little quote right, or she won't compromise.
Either drop the rope or lock horns. That's the only way. And what's interesting, she says, you're fucking petty little bitch. Walk away with your fucking feathers. Of course, Craig always goes after her. And
Kathryn,
and Paige is like, y'all have this shtick down here of being polite. And she's like, up north, we just say, fuck you. She's like, but y'all linger.
I loved it. I think Paige is going to have, because Paige is funny. I think her commentary on the way these people act is going to be funny all this season.
It'll be funny. Yeah, I agree. That's the show.
I'm on a scale of, because y'all, we've said, if this season's not good, we'll even stop halfway, because Lord knows we have enough to cover.
This season was awful.
But on a scale of like 1 to 10, I'm feeling like a good 6 on this, honest, as far as hopefulness.
I would agree. I was going to say 6 too.
Look at that. We're wearing the same shirt and we're both 6s. 6s and 7s with you.
Didn't I have to explain to you that was an actual slogan? Because you're like, what a fun lyric.
That's the show, everybody. That's the show, everybody. This show is on our free feed. It is not on Patreon. Now, you can listen to it on Patreon or Supercast commercial-free. Ad-free for your pleasure on our $8 tier. You can go, not to our website, but eventually we got to get that fixed. But you can go to our Linktree link, and that we are going to be in Dallas. We're going to be in Dallas, Austin, San Diego. Denver. Yep, it's going to be exciting. So come see us on tour because summer should be fun and apparently hot because everywhere we go is just fucking 100 degrees.
Hello, Texas in July.
Yes.
I did not. I left the hotel in Phoenix 3 times.
If that.
Honestly, no. It was too hot there.
Poodle, how do we sign off this? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you finished. Go ahead.
Y'all come back now you hear, I thought.
That is how we do it, y'all. That's how Poodles take us out.
I will see you next time, y'all. Get tickets for our live shows on our Instagram Linktree. But for right now, y'all come back now. You hear?
You hear?
Well, now it's time to say goodbye to Poodle and to Matt. And they would like to thank you folks for listening to their chat. You're all invited back next week, but please, before we're through, just mosey down to iTunes and leave us a review.
Poodle, you and reviews, you're shameless.
That's what they call me in college.
Y'all come back now, you hear?